All right. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Rob for Smirking Gun Reviews, and we are finally here at the show I've been waiting for all year. Better Call Saul. Yes. Sorry. Season 4, Episode 1, Smoke. If you have not seen the episode, this is full of spoilers. And so, just to let you know, uh, Breaking Bad is like my jam. It's my favorite show. I have reviewed some of Better Call Saul in the past, but the equipment and everything I had was pretty bad. So at some point, maybe I'd like to go back and review the early episodes and Breaking Bad and stuff like that. But this, like, I like other shows like Legion and Westworld, but this is my jam. So this video is actually late. I didn't get to watch it until what was it, the 10:20, uh, because of some problems I had the first time it was playing. Literally just starts, and I was interrupted by something that I couldn't avoid, and so I missed like the whole first part of it. So I'm playing catch up here. But so as far as premieres go, it's a pretty somber one. It's playing catch up. They don't usually, we don't usually have a kind of a catch up episode. Things usually kind of hit the ground running in these shows, in this show. But to begin with, we have our flash. Well, the scene that's set in the present. What I love about the scenes that are set in the present, um, is that they're in black and white, and it's just it's usually like the opposite of a flashback or something like that, but it does kind of fit the bleakness and the hopelessness and the just the blah life that Jimmy slash Saul is living right now. And where we left off last year, where he had kind of like a panic attack or whatever, he passes out, and they get him into they send him to the hospital. And this is like nightmare time for him, because if you haven't seen the events of Breaking Bad, spoilers, he can't come out of hiding after the events of that show. So anything that gets you noticed is got him on high alert, because if anybody finds him, in his opinion, and more than likely, he's a dead man and he'll die bad. Um, but I've always kind of taken that with a grain of salt, and it's not the most important thing. Um, it's kind of a bookending, and I have a feeling that eventually we'll get some sort of closure to the character of Saul or Jimmy. But that's, again, I've seen, just kind of as I was looking up uh, tonight's show, people talking about still no Saul and still no, like, I don't know. This is just like Breaking Bad was a show about metamorphosis. It was about how one thing becomes another thing. And so how Walter White, goes from this nebbish chemistry teacher who gets cancer and becomes a drug kingpin, is the same as, it's that same metamorphosis here where we have Jimmy as this small time con man turned lawyer who becomes, but wants to do well, wants to do right, wants to, impress his brother and the girl, and, be bigger than slipping Jimmy and all that stuff. To how he ends up, losing all of that himself and becoming this other person called Saul Goodman. And that's the important thing. It isn't about how, oh, cool, it's so, like, we have to have all these Breaking Bad things in here. That's just a bonus. Um, and even though, like, it's great to see, Giancarlo Esposito's Gus, and Mike, who, is just freaking great. It's still Jimmy's story and how kind of everybody else's uh, background. It's enjoyable background, but it's still background nonetheless to me. So, in this, we have um, the immediate aftermath of the Chuck killing himself. Nobody in this world, we know what happened, but nobody else does. Um, I really like, he's just, Jimmy is up, he is ready, he is looking in the paper, he is, already being kind of Charlie Hustle, like they call him, but, and the phone calls, it's Howard. Why would he answer for Howard's calls, so doesn't answer it. Um, he's helping, oh my god, did I just forget Rhea Seahorn's character's name like while I'm doing this? Oh my god. Anyway, he's helping her get the bag on her arm, and that's when Howard calls her, and he's looking for Jimmy, and this, of course, leads to, yeah, it's about Chuck. And no matter what, their relationship is like, if something's wrong with Chuck, Jimmy will always come running. And that show is like, like when Chuck told Jimmy, that he really doesn't think about him all that much. He doesn't really consider about him. He doesn't matter to Chuck, which I feel like was more denial and more bullshit from Chuck, because he seemed to have everything that went wrong in his life, and his problem with the electricity and all that stuff seemed to stem from his kind of hatred of Jimmy. For somebody who says he doesn't consider him all that much, that's such a lie. Everything revolves around Jimmy, his feelings about Jimmy. But anyway, so they get there and the place is just black. It's just torched. And you get to see Howard there. And, Howard, say what you will about him as, I don't know. None of this is his, he's trying to be a good guy. I think Howard is a great character because he could just be this one note, uh, you know, conniving lawyer, slick, has all the connections and all this stuff. But they really do give him a lot as the show is going on, and here he's more of coming at it from, uh, we both they both knew Chuck, of course, but Howard, you know, is trying to be a friend. Um, and it's pretty much just kind of the rest of the episode for Jimmy is just kind of like, not, I'm not gonna say like complete denial, but just what do you do when you've had to spend so much time taking care of somebody to the degree that Jimmy has, and then suddenly that is just gone and out of your life forever. Um, you don't have to think about it anymore. But then, the guilt that's also on him about why his brother was the way he was. Jimmy having to kind of face his role in Chuck's, you know, downward slide towards further madness. Chuck is, even by Michael McKean's admission in his mind, that Chuck was an asshole. But, you know, circumstances being the way they are, I mean, Jimmy plays a role in the exacerbation of Chuck's problems. So, hit with that too. Mixed with just the general numbness that you might have when you find out somebody that you care about or, a family member died. So this is where we now get to Mike. Mike is always a beacon of light on this show. He is the cool old badass that we loved on Breaking Bad and we like love here. I think I like him even more here. They gave him like all this really cool stuff to do on Breaking Bad, but it's just interesting to see, how he got to his own change, from being this kind of shamed ex-cop who was on the take to becoming like secondhand man to a drug kingpin, a drug cartel. Like it's pretty, everybody's got this change throughout this show just about. So Mike here is, he gets his paycheck. It's a lot. It's like 10 grand. And he's basically, he's done, like with the car park, at the courthouse. And now he's like, basically doesn't have to do anything, unless Gus needs something. But just like a lot of retirees, you can't just sit still. So he takes it upon himself to, start looking into Madrigal because he is supposed to be the security consultant. And if you know Mike at all, he is going to take this very seriously and very hardcore. And just the lengths that he goes to, I mean, he clearly cuts this guy's, kills this guy's car. So he, makes the battery not work. He takes his badge. Now, he also would have had to look into somebody that he kind of looks similar to. And so to infiltrate the place and just go through it, see how easily he could get through all these places and look and see all the different problems that they have. And it's just, even to return the guy's badge and, and make him feel bad. Like, well, hey, man, you went out of your way. There's not too many people that are going to break into my, an employee's car to get at their badge, and kill their battery and try to impersonate them. But that's Mike, he's going to go the extra mile. And so when he's explaining to this guy, about, being a security consultant and call Lydia. So this whole thing with Mike is really great. Lydia, another great addition. I don't know how much they'll use her for, but she was a great little side piece for the last season. The introduction of where Mike and Gus and all that, and Madrigal and the whole drug cartel thing. Very cool introduction that way, explaining things a little bit more of when that all started. Speaking of Gus, we have Gus and Nacho. Now that Hector Salamanca has been carted away in the ambulance, it's the, what comes next. Because Hector is clearly not going to be able to do much right now. Is this the moment that he ends up in the chair with the bell and everything and can't do shit? We'll see. But poor Nacho, okay, so he's not on Breaking Bad, so I feel like there's all the other characters like Howard and again, I don't know why I can't remember her name. All these people that are in Breaking Bad, their story, is kind of like, well, do they die? Do they not die? But I would say that in Nacho's case, he probably doesn't have a happy ending. But it's interesting to see that journey still, him trying to cover his tracks. He was doing the right thing. He was protecting his father. The right thing, as far as being locked in a drug dealer, world, and, something you shouldn't be involved in anyway. But to protect his dad, he was willing to take this risk. And while it's noble, the other people, and they might even agree with it on some level too, but they have their own code. And so if he got found out, he probably would be killed. But you never know, because with Gus, things are always kind of, you won't know until you know. Just ask the guy in episode Box Cutter. Yeah, he thought he was cool until the very last second. So they go and meet Basso, I think is what his name is. He's also from, again, the other show, and it basically just saying, you guys still, Hector's territory doesn't change if this works well, but there will be more going on towards this, because now Gus is convinced, he's going to say, well, without Hector here to keep order in his place, it's going to be a power grab, and then that's chaos, and that leads to the DEA. So more stuff coming. it would be great if, we got to see Hank or something this season. But again, that's not important. If we get it, great. Um, I would love to see them somehow work in Jesse and Walt. But I mean, again, that's all just window dressing. It'd be a little bonus. It wouldn't add to the story really at all. It would just give us all like a little Easter egg, and that's great. But if it doesn't really service the story, I don't necessarily need it. Unless it's, really, like if it's done really in like a funny way, something that adds to it a little bit, that's great. Um, then we have like the funeral, and you know, it's just one of those, like how awkward is it to have everybody telling you how much they love your brother. Speaking of which, Howard's obituary, man, I hope when I die, I have somebody that wants to talk about me in such length, because I mean you can just tell from that obituary, how much Howard cared about Chuck. And again, showing the content of Howard's real character. For the most part, Howard can be a prick. Um, but then, you got Howard and Jimmy and Kim Wexler. God, just now fucking finally remember her name. What the hell is wrong with me? They're having this talk where Howard says, I think Chuck killed himself. Uh, we all know that he knows how, to work the lanterns and all this stuff. So, but Jimmy, again, is kind of just not really there. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a good episode. It's not one of those that, you go, oh, and it punches you in the gut. But Better Call Saul is back, and I'll take a good episode of Better Call Saul over, a lot of just other shows. So, happy, happy, happy that it's back. Happy that, moving forward, we're going to get to see. I think you need to have this episode, so that we can kind of put it behind us for the most part and get on to the main story. So, very happy with it. Very excited. Great episode. Yeah, so if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. This is going to be the show that I try to do the most in depth. I don't like to forget anything about this. I want to make sure everybody gets. I got my Breaking Bad guys, my Funko Pops here. So I really hope that people do tune into these reviews, because this show really, like, I'm kind of trying to pour everything I have into it. So I was gonna do other videos today, but I'm just like, no, I just want to make sure that this one's good. So anyway, we will see you on the next video. So this is Rob from Smirking Gun Reviews, saying we will see you on the next Better Call Saul video, or whatever other videos I have coming up. And yeah, that's it. We're back. I can't believe it. So we'll see you on the next one. I don't know what's wrong with me lately. I don't know how to end these things. So see ya.